As rural Americans, we have a unique understanding of and connection to the land. Whether we ranch, farm, log, or simply recreate, what we do today determines our tomorrow. As stewards of the land, it's our duty to ensure that our children and grandchildren can enjoy the outdoors in a similar manner that was afforded us. Join the Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation and ensure the future of elk, other wildlife, their habitat, and our hunting heritage. Visit rmef.org today.
Thanks, as always, to our friends at Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation for their continued support of everything we do right here on According to Flint. And this episode features my good friend Cord McCoy, not an all-time PBR great, but an all-time PBR great guy. We used to call him the Riding Redhead, one of my favorite guys. Cord McCoy, enjoy my time with him. But first, a little message from our friends at Pendleton Whiskey. Well, welcome to episode number 43 of According to Flint, as promised. The Riding Redhead himself, Cord McCoy. 43. It only 43. It only took 86 weeks.
Yeah, I don't know whether I say thank you so much, or like, hey, what took you so long? Like, I got there's lots of material between me and you that, like, have we went through it all yet? It's kind of like traveling with somebody that you know everything about. It's like, what do you even talk about?
Yeah, but I was waiting for you to get famous. Okay, it's time. It's that Cord's Bulls made him famous. Let's have him on.
Whatever it takes.
Hey, I didn't tell you this when we started. When you got on, we visited a little bit before we started recording, which we always do. But I didn't tell you this. As we do this, it is Snowmageddon in Montana. It is as bad a blizzard as I've ever seen now.
You told me that yesterday, and then there was tornadoes here in Atoka County yesterday. So I'm like, you 6-1 after the, what do you want? Do you want a snowstorm, or do you want a tornado? Like, it's everywhere.
We're still functioning in Montana, but it's funny. And you're a rancher, so you get it. A lot of Montana has been under a extreme drought, southeast Montana, from here in Billings where we are. And it's funny, there was a joke the other day that's kind of a sad joke, that it's a shame you wish for a cow-killing blizzard to get moisture to save your cow herd. You know, but you guys deal with that too. How are things in Oklahoma? Are you guys good? Everything all right?
Well, I guess the Oklahoma is kind of almost different little ways. I guess Western Oklahoma has kind of been in a drought. It's been real bad. Where I live in Eastern Oklahoma, like, we've got flooding problems. So we're getting all their rain. Which for us, we don't have a covered indoor arena. All those young bulls that need trained up, if it's a mud hole, it shuts things down. We're just feeding stuff. And, yesterday we're trying to dry out the arena enough to get back to practicing. And, it's funny, me and my little 3-year-old daughter's out in the yard watching the tornadoes. So, I mean, that's kind of what we do for fun, seem like.
Oh, nothing. little daddy daughter time watching the tornadoes roll by. That's so romantic. Well, I missed you this past weekend, and I'll get to some of your bulls, but I missed you in Tacoma, Washington, saw you in Everett, but I came home to a college rodeo. It was actually 2 in one weekend for my girls. Yeah. And now here's the problem. When you take weekend off and I go watch my daughters, now I want this weekend off. Now it's hard it's hard because I should have introduced you as Tulsa's dad.
Yeah. Yeah. They don't buy anymore. So, I mean, I understand.
Were you,
not only that, but like you get such in a routine of, like, this happens Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. This is what happened Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Well, then they throw a Wednesday performance in there in, no man's land, Washington, and you find yourself there, and you talk about screw up your time zone, screw up your week of, like, what in the world is going on here? Is it ever going to end? It feels like a 6-perf weekend.
Yeah. Did you ever think going into this season, I looked at the schedule and said, wow, midweek in Everett, Washington, I can go to that, come home for that. Cause I had scheduled that weekend off since December.
Right.
But did you ever think a Wednesday night in Everett, Washington would be one of the wildest full crowds? I got to tell you, with all due respect to everywhere else, that was as fun a performance as I've done in a while. It was crazy. Who would have dreamed?
It was. The funny thing is, I think those bulls really do like feed off the crowd a little bit. And when you think that I've got a bull that's been from New York City to South Texas, all over the country, where you take your for Bucking Bull of the Year, you take your top 6 outs to the World Finals, and then they add those other 2 to decide your world champion. The crowd was so intense. I kind of joked about it that I don't think Solo knows it's Wednesday, and had one of his top 6 performances right there on a Wednesday night in Everett, Washington. I mean, who would have saw that coming? But it was intense, and I think the people and especially the animals feed off of that. It's good.
Yeah, we joked about. The next day, I'm like, is it only freaking Thursday? What am I doing? I was completely lost. That's part of our job. Rodeo, and I'm sure for you was the same way. You start trying to figure out what day it is, and fans and stuff picture rodeo on a weekend, always on a weekend. But when you get rolling, especially winter, you never know. I got some coming up. I'm going to Clovis, California, and same.
Yeah, rodeo calendar. It's like you just July 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You never look at Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. That's kind of how the rodeo calendar is laid out. It's not days of the week. It is actually the date. What day are you up at Cheyenne? What day are you out in Salina? You get up for this is how the rodeo business works.
I had a friend of mine, my hometown, a couple weeks ago say, "So, you guys about ready to kick off your season? Get busy?" And I just went, yeah. We haven't done anything.
For this year, for me, I was like, how could you ever go to more? Like when I was riding bulls, how could you ever go to more? You got 32 events a weekend, and now I changed to stock contractor. Thing is, you think when you're riding bulls, you could never travel more, you could never go to more events, and then then we start the 2022 season. I do New Year's Eve in Fort Worth. Then I fly to Indianapolis for January 1, drive back home, drive to New York, drive to Chicago, and I mean going back and forth from the house. Drive to Milwaukee, just get back home from Tacoma. This is every weekend. Yes, I change bulls and switch bulls around every week, working on their schedule. But to keep the bulls fresh, I feel like I wear myself out with travel. So I've traveled more this year than probably the Amazing Race to go all the way around the world. I haven't figured out that exact mileage, but it feels like it.
I'm with you. I have a lot of people will say, well, this PBR thing's got to be easier on you with less travel. And I did more performances rodeoing and I had to drive, but the sanity of it, I think what gets me is doing one, getting on an airplane, going home, getting on an airplane. I think the airplane thing is probably harder on me because when I was rodeoing, I'd hop in the motorhome or whatever, go to the next one and stay there a week.
Right.
So I don't know. I can't decide.
Yeah, I think traveling, even for me now, of course, when the bulls are not on the trailer, if it's 10 hours or less, I still drive. I mean, that's the airport. The dealing with having to be the security that much early and dealing with flight changes and everything else. If it's 10 hours or less, I just don't drive it anyways. I mean, that's how bad the airport is.
I think people should know that. We discuss it in our locker room. We're going to have it right now. There is a cutoff time of when you drive and when you fly. Sioux Falls, South Dakota for me is right on. It's like 9.5 hours. And I just didn't want to drive. I didn't want to drive. So I flew, but it's still, I mean, there is that time. Now there's guys out there like Frank Newsom. Yeah, I'm just gonna drive. Me and Webb, we're just gonna hop in. Well, how far is it? It's about 14 hours. What?
Yeah.
But wait, we're not all built like Frank Newsom.
No, I don't even aspire to try. Matter of fact.
Hey, were you a college rodeo guy? I was thinking of you this weekend when I was at the college rodeo. Where'd you go?
Southwestern Oklahoma State.
Swazoo.
Yeah, SWASU. I'm Bulldog. Hey, funniest college rodeo stories. So they have this Brandy the Bulldog, and I got this idea. To back up, they're having tryouts for the mascot for Brandy the Bulldog, and I see the ad or whatever, and I was like, oh my goodness, would this not be the funnest thing? So a buddy of mine, he videoed it, and I talked him into letting me be Brandy the Bulldog for one basketball game. So you're in this outfit, and nobody knows who you are. So you go into the crowd and do anything you want for one night, and nobody knows about it. And my buddy videoed it from the crowd. It was the funnest thing. So every kind of like little, break dance or smirk or joke that you thought you could do before and nobody would know about it. Like I did that one night. So later we had our SWASU rodeo event there at Weatherford, and I dressed up as the Bulldog, and of course, riding the grand entry or whatever, do the whole thing. But the bad thing is, like, there's some jokesters back there throwing rocks at my horse as I was in the brandy suit. Jumps and you can't see anything in the brandy suit. It was more dangerous than the bronc ride, I think.
I know nothing about dressing up and going in the crowd and nobody knows who you are.
But everybody knows who you are. But like for one night, like that was a one night stand kind of deal. It was not like I didn't want the job, but they had tryouts and I talked them into letting me be the Brandy the Bulldog one night at a basketball game. So
when I was a kid, that was when the San Diego Chicken was kind of the original like mascot that traveled around. And that's what I was intrigued by that. I think that's kind of a little bit of what led to what I do. Is that stuff kills me. So Brandy, the SWASU Bulldog. Yep. Now I know. What
day, man? The day.
That
was pre-Facebook. That was like you could do anything, and like it's probably on a VHS tape somewhere that nobody can find. But yeah, it was fun at the time.
Did you do every single event in college rodeo?
I did. So I thought I felt more value since I did bareback, saddle broncs, and bulls. But then you get to college, they have a practice pen, they have free calves, they have people to load them, they have people to untie them and everything. So of course, like I'm roping calves, bulldogging, team roping, every event that they had. But I would seriously go to the events with a rigging bag. I could borrow a better horse than I ever owned to start with. And I could actually come one spot from making the college national finals in the team roping healing.
No kidding.
Yeah. So I did every event in rodeo. The bulldogging got so dangerous for me though. I would wear my protective vest. I'd ride my bronc, and I would leave my boots on that would slip off, and I'd leave my protective vest on because those steers kept hitting my ribs so hard it hurt. Now they had me gunshot. But I knew they had a slippery saddle, and I was going to bail every time. Even if it looked like Monty Hawkeye Henson, I was not going to ride that crazy horse to the other end of the ring. Like I was bailing.
That's the word. People don't know. That's the place you don't want to ride that horse to. Bulldogging horses.
Most college rodeos in the Central Plains region, they're huge, big outdoor, like Hayes, and I mean, they're either really big or like NFR style. So you want to bail, like, and I would even they would train me like how to like score those cattle, and I'd back my horse up and I'd give him some rein. He'd step forward and back up and give him some rein. Well, the last time I would drop my hand and that horse wouldn't move, I would nod my head because I wouldn't have to read the steer. Like that horse would hear the gates and we were gone. Breakout or long, we were jumping off. I was not riding.
Where was the college national finals when you were in school?
Casper.
Oh, it was there. I couldn't remember how old.
Yeah, for sure.
I love the college rodeo scene because you get, as a parent and as watching the kids, parents are no longer allowed to be down by the arena. So all those parents with clipboards and visors, it drives them crazy. They're just not me. I like it. I just lounge around. Well, hey, what was your major? What'd you take in college?
Business marketing. I always joke that it never helped my bull riding. So I graduated. I got me a degree. And the sad thing about it is I wasn't going to go finish college. I'd done my 4 years. I liked about 14 more hours. And a bull stepped on my arm about 2 weeks before the next semester of school started. I wasn't going to go back. Like I was going rodeo, but I broke my arm and I thought, well, I'll just go finish. And I was so thankful that I finished and got my degree.
I have my daughter graduated with a marketing degree. I believe Logan, who's running the camera right now, graduated in marketing. I would think that's a valuable thing in the business you're in now, though. With your bull business, don't you find yourself probably using some of those thoughts that you took from college?
Yes. And I tell you what, until now, you don't really realize how short your professional career is. And I guess now we're going back into this coaching thing. You want to coach these guys into being the best they can be. You don't want them to get off track. Just focus on riding bulls. That's it. But then the other thing, you get the business aspect that you and I look at now of like, hey, these guys need to be preparing for something, because you don't realize how short your little, professional bull riding career is until it's over. And you're like, crap, man, I should have done X, Y, and Z, and we really don't have somebody to help them so much with that. Even if you have an agent, it's, they just, one season at a time. They're not looking at the rest of your life.
Is that something we could do better? Like, so you're a coach in the teams thing.
Right. Right.
What's the Oklahoma
Freedom?
The Freedom. That's
yeah.
Don't you think, is that something you guys talk about, that instead of just gathering bull riders and have this team concept, let's provide them something else besides what they've got in the past? Is that discussion?
That's kind of a fine line, though. I mean, because as I'm a coach, I just want them to focus on bull riding. Like, I don't want you any other thought than bull riding. But, and then as me and you just mentioned, life goes on. And, sometimes the best things in life actually come after bull riding. So just having those guys preparing for it a little bit. And it's a tough deal. When you start, for as long as you can remember, from the time I was wearing diapers to 32 years old, there was one goal I had in life, was to ride bulls, to ride in rodeo, to be a professional cowboy. And then you hit this wall of like, what's next? I mean, you had no other thought in life. So there's a tough time in life when guys have to think of something else to do in life that you can enjoy and love as much as, the time and the effort that you put into bull riding.
When you talk about your main goal in life, were you as good a bronc rider as you were a bull rider? What do you think?
I felt like I was. I felt like the bronc riding was the hardest thing for me to pick up. In 2004, actually, I was riding in the short round of a PRCA rodeo at Oklahoma City. I got bucked off the back of the saddle bronc horse, and he kicked me in the head and crushed my skull. At that time, I thought saddle bronc riding was my best event. In my rookie year in the PRCA, I thought I'm doing like everybody else. I'm going west for the summer, and and I get out there and I get entered in the bareback riding at Cheyenne and Nampa and all that, and I can't get entered in the bronc riding in the bull riding. I come back home and ride at the more local rodeos, you could say, but bronc riding was probably my best event. But I think Nampa's coming up. I think I made the short round of the bareback riding at Nampa. My brother Jet won the short round at Cheyenne of the bareback riding. I mean, like the other events were probably my better events, but when it came down to it, there was more money in bull riding. If you're going to one, there's more money in bull riding. And I'd never seen anybody ride a bronc with a helmet. And after I got hurt, I had to wear a helmet. And so I thought, well, I'll just ride bulls. Next thing I know, I made the NFR, and I thought, well, I'm just going to ride bulls. I'll go to the PBR. That's where all the money's at.
Yeah. People who are bull riding fans or new to rodeo talk about bull riding, and it's crazy. It's so tough on these guys. I don't care what anybody says. Bareback riding, tough on the body.
Yes. Even if you watch those guys that are like, if you're 90 points in the bull riding and you land on your feet, it does not hurt. If you're 90 points in the bareback riding and win first, it still hurts. I'm telling you. And it's something like to prepare your body for it. Like, you take 6 months off, then start riding bareback horse again. There's muscles they don't have machines in the gym for that it hurts. And you see them, use machines on their arm and 2 rolls of tape. It's not because it looks cool, because it hurts.
It's funny. Your quote about bareback riding and bull riding, almost verbatim to what Ty Murray said. He said, man, you can be 90 in the bull riding and it's a dance. The power's gone. And you can make the greatest bareback ride you've ever made in your life, and you feel like you're going to die. So yeah. You're accurate there. See, you said the same thing as Ty Murray. Congratulations.
Yeah.
So you talked about your accident you had, and you and I have talked about it before. Getting kicked in the head. You were in a coma. It was way, you skimmed over it a little, way worse than maybe.
I skimmed the worst accident because I don't remember it. I literally have to tell you what other people told me. I mean, yeah, it was bad. They didn't know I was going to live to start with. And it was a blessing in disguise. Let's say the rodeos that I was to right before that, I think I was in St. T, Quebec, Canada. Then I flew to Florida, and I just happened to be a Saturday afternoon performance for the championship round in Oklahoma City, within, 10 miles of the best medical hospital in the world. There just happened to be a Justin Sports Medicine team there that, that knew exactly what happened. They knew how to call it in. They knew what to do. They did surgery on me within minutes of the actual accident. I mean, it was best case scenario, I guess, if that's the best way to put it. But it like caved my skull in and smushed my brain. So they scalped me and pulled the skull back off my brain. And they drilled about a nickel-sized hole above my left ear to relieve pressure. My brain was just swelling so much. And, I just got to tell the story of what other people said. I was in an induced coma for a week, and they didn't know if I was going to live to start with. And then when I woke up, they told my parents they didn't think I would even be mentally stable.
Well, at least they were right on that.
Yeah.
At least they got that one right.
Remember what I forgot. So like it's I guess it's good. You don't remember what was bad. But it was a scary deal. Even they had these therapy people come in there, and you talk about the depression. I mean, I think that was the worst thing that they were worried about. And I was at Pinnacle Rehabilitation Center, and the guy next to me had a stroke, and then the whole row of the rehabilitation center was bad. And it didn't take long to look around and say, man, I'm glad to be alive. I wasn't worried about bronc riding, bull riding, girlfriend, nothing. Like I had that sense of like, man, I survived. Like you just went through a car wreck, and I'm not supposed to be here. And that was the appreciation, I guess, that you're just glad to still be alive.
You've kind of indicated to me, and even here, about who you are. I've jokingly said, and I hope you take it as a compliment, I introduced you not long ago at a tour and said, Cord McCoy is the most popular middle of the road bull rider we've ever had in the PBR.
Yeah, I take it. I take it.
But you've told me that being thankful, it really shined a light on, man, we got to appreciate every day. Would you say that it fundamentally changed you? Or, I mean, before the accident, were you asshole Cord McCoy? Or, I mean, what do you think?
I thought the exact same that you're talking about, because I remember I was, a junior in high school, and I thought I was the baddest cat in the land. I mean, I could ride anything. I broke my leg, broke my femur, and still ended up winning state 3 times. I think there's certain turns in life that kind of make you who you are today. And I never even made it on the PBR tour until I was 26 years old. And when I look at that today, I see the little 18-year-old guys come on there, and I'm like, I'm so glad I was not tempted with what they have. I don't know that I would have handled it as well as I do today, and you learn later in life to take crumbs and make the best out of it. But I think my accidents, injuries, experiences kind of made me who I am today. So I wouldn't even take those away. Like if I could look back and say, don't do X, Y, and Z, I wouldn't take the injuries away, because maybe who I am today, it's gave me a whole sense of appreciation. And do I look back at pro bull stats and see that I rode 60% before I crushed my skull and think, man, I could be a famous world champion today? Yeah, I mean, I think about that, but also don't think I would, have what I have today and be the person I am. And I wouldn't take any of it back.
I've said this on a few, probably more than one of these. I tell my girls all the time, you can be successful in the arena, but what people will remember is how you treat them outside the arena. And you, when I do say the greatest mediocre bull rider in the history of the PBR, that's such a compliment. In my book, that's such a compliment, because you've been a face of things. You still fly around and do PR. It's such a good example to kids to say that's what people will remember. It's hard to get that through to some of the little turds.
But still today, the opportunities that I get, a lot of it is just come from friendship and, the personality or what you have built yourself, of being good to one person. And the next thing you know, they have an opportunity of like, hey, there's another opportunity coming up. Have you talked to Cord? That's a really nice guy. This will do something. I mean, I don't think the young guys realize when you get off the plane, your job started right there. I mean, it is it's a job. It's not just the 8 seconds, but the doors that you can open yourself, the opportunities that you can get, even later when you retire from riding bulls, that I've already built a relationship with all these people. And in one phone call, I can get X, Y, and Z done. So, it's not just 8 seconds in the arena, just don't throw your bull rope. There's a lot of other things that you can, build relationships with people that will last forever.
What was your best finish ever in the PBR in a season?
Best finish. I don't know. I think I was top 5 early in the year one time. And I think that was probably the best I was at one time. The crazy thing about it, and you got to think about it in this coaching side a little bit. I finished in the top 10 of the PBR World Finals the year that I got on Bushwhacker and Asteroid, both at the PBR World Finals. And the funny thing about that was I probably had no chance of riding either one of them. I'm not going to kid you that. But those other bulls felt so slow and easy compared to those two. It's probably the idea of you see a baseball come 95 mile an hour, it makes the 88 look slow. And it's that mindset of, I done sweat plumb through Bushwhacker. I remember when I got on Bushwhacker, they seriously introduced the 45 bull riders. We're out there and they're fixed to do the national anthem. And then they show 10 videos of Bushwhacker almost killing people for like 5 minutes, it felt like. And I got to sit there and watch the bull I'm fixed to get on in 30 minutes. So he had that hype and everything. But, the next day I've got just another long round bull. We're at the PBR World Finals. There's no easy bulls there. Right. But when you everything to that level, yeah, it slows down a little bit.
Yeah, it's you get on those, the rest of them seem easy. And at the PBR Finals, if you buck off 2 and ride the rest of them, you're in good shape there.
Yeah, and I think about that. Everybody has that argument. You remember JB Mooney picked Bushwhacker 10 times, and now I feel like, okay, I've been through this. I know what Bushwhacker feels like, and then the others feels like, and maybe every time that he would pick Bushwhacker, it dialed everything else he got on easy. You know what I mean? Because we know they took him 11 times to ride him, but every time he got on it, probably the next bull he got on felt, slower. So a lot of people argue like, oh, if he would have done X, Y, and Z, he would have done better. Not pick Bushwhacker. But, I didn't ride Bushwhacker 2.7 seconds, but I think it helped the week.
I'm going to use that. I'm going to pretend that I came up with that. Here's the deal with JB Mooney on Bushwhacker. And then I'll say, Cord McCoy.
Yeah, Cord said that. I don't know if I really made Bushwhacker look that good, but it's still Bushwhacker's highest mark score ever is when I got on it. So either I really made him look good, or but the thing about the bulls though, the biggest press conference I've ever been in was when I got on Bushwhacker. And for the simple matter is just people want to know what it felt like. And I say it all the time. It's like playing one-on-one basketball with Michael Jordan. What was it like? To sit on him and to feel him buck. I tell people it's like getting on a roller coaster because he leaves there. It feels slow. It's like tick, 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 tick. And that was the last time I seen him. When he went like that, I think he went right. I'm not real sure. I never seen him again.
We'll look for the video. We'll look for the video of it. What I look back on, because I did the NFR a bunch of times, and I look back at rosters, and it's surprising how much I don't remember. What year did you make the NFR?
The last time you were there.
05.
05.
Look at that. Isn't that funny? There's so many people, I forget Paulo Crimber.
Yep.
He won the average at the NFR.
Yep. There was Matt Austin. I think, I rode against him that year when he broke all those records, and to travel up and down the road, maybe one of the best seasons that I've ever seen anybody have. And I've seen JB have stingers, McBride have stingers. I was a little late on Adriano. Guilherme, I'm going to say the best 5 years together. I mean, to stay what he is for that long. But that Matt Austin 1 year, they couldn't throw him off. And I'd have to dig up the stats to see it exactly, what happened. But, they couldn't throw him off. And yeah, that was one of the best years I ever seen rodeo on.
Matt Austin, he had the glasses, right? He had
Oh yeah.
glasses.
Oh yeah. No, and it's kind of one of those you then the guy takes your money every week, and then you watch how he like is practicing back there before he gets ready. Then you go home and try to like, man, if I do like Matt Austin, I'm gonna do this. He had his own gimmick, and it isn't working.
Yeah, I remember Matt. Man, you always look back and go, man, I remember that guy. What happened to him? You know, a lot of guys won and did their thing and don't hear much about him, you know? So
it is. I mean, is there some goal that they went to, and then after they reached it, and it's like, phew, you know, I did it. You know, what's next? And some guys just continue the drive of like, I still don't have enough. I still don't have enough. You know, and that's when you get the the Jose's, the Glaramys, the McBrides, whatever that is. To do it once is one, but to continue the grind and get the same reward out of it is a whole nother.
I don't know. For some reason, I admire those guys that are so good and then can walk away. For one, it indicates to me that they're prepared and have something in life to walk to. Right. I don't know. I've always admired that. See you later. Thank you.
Oh yeah. And I think McBride is the same deal. Just to be the best in the world and just say, yeah, I'm gonna do something else. That is really cool. I don't feel like I had that opportunity. I was so blessed to be able to walk away from bull riding, not be forced into retirement like several of the other guys I've seen. But for me, it was I needed to either go down a level, go to some open rodeos, or quit. And I couldn't find it in my mind to step down a level. Like I'm just gonna quit here. Yeah. Maybe I wasn't good enough before, but I wasn't gonna go somewhere else.
Absolutely not. And I hope people understand that. Yeah, I feel the same way. But okay, so I don't think you and I have had probably conversations almost about everything we could and your career and the amazing race stuff that people know about. But I don't think I've ever asked you because I've got a lot of Dancing with the Stars stuff. And I always say, for one, I'm not a star in mainstream, whatever. But there's all those reality things, like you and your brother on Amazing Race. There had to be a whole process of who contacted you. Does it go through agents? Does an agent come to you and say, I think I'll pursue this? Explain the process of the Amazing Race.
Yeah, there are agents that reach out there. But my brother Jet called me, and I don't know who gave him the idea, but I was leaving Cheyenne Frontier Days, and Jet called me up and said, hey, I got a great idea. 2-man team, race around the world, pays $1 million, yada, yada, yada. So then we go home, we do a little 20-second video, I'm Cord McCoy, it's my brother Jet, we're going to win your little race around the world kind of deal, and filled out the bio and sent it in. So that's kind of how we applied. I do think that PBR, rodeo, the Western way of life could do a better job of feeding those stars. I mean, because they know the people, they know what they act like, they know what they're gonna put on TV, but a lot of it is through agencies. I mean that hey, I found this guy, he should be on Dancing with the Stars, he should be on Big Brother, whatever it may be. So yeah, it should be out there. I mean, we could promote our way of life better.
Yeah. When you have told me, and it makes complete sense to me, in that Amazing Race, and I saw it, I didn't watch it a lot, but I watched it, well, because I knew you guys, you and Jet, but you had what kind of advantage did you see because of what we talked about earlier? Getting on a plane, you knew how to sleep on a plane. You knew the traveling was a big advantage to you.
Yep. Yeah, that was the beast. And I tell most of the rodeo guys, the Amazing Race is just like the 4th of July, but it don't hurt near as bad. And that's what it is. I mean, I think that's where people go off the handle a little bit. Because if you haven't flown that much, you haven't rode in a car for days at a time, and if it hadn't had these challenges, roadblocks, detours, whatever they call them, is the exact same things that we face in life already. And that's where people, they haven't slept for a couple of days, and then they don't get their right meal, and they're in a foreign country, foreign land, and then they have a problem. It's pretty easy to get the footage that they get. They don't have time to show how many people fly off the handle there and there. We knew that if we ever did, they'd sure use it against us. But there's some people had a tough time with the travel.
there, I remember someone said to me, yeah, be on that Dancing with the Stars. I said, for one, I wouldn't be able to do it and do the PBR season because Dancing with the Stars is at the same time. And the guy said, that Cord McCoy, he's out there doing that amazing race every week. I said, that was like 8 months ago. What was the time? What was the time frame?
Yeah, no, that was exactly. So, if anybody knows, you know too, because I got engaged right before we took off, but the schedule fit out just right. The first time that we raced, they were going to leave like November 15th. I did the PBR World Finals and then took a trip around the world right after that. It fit right in the exact time. Even the second time, we raced in the fall because they had called me up and said, would you do the race again? And I said, well, yeah, for sure. When we're leaving. And they said like November 10th. And I said, no, I can't do it. I mean, I can't race. We're going to the PBR World Finals. And my wife, she's been scheduling this wedding, for 12 months, probably 18 years of her life. This is scheduled. I said, I can't do it. And they called me back and said, if we left November 14th, would you go? I got married on the 13th. Oh, and I took go around the world on November 14th. So I pretty much honeymooned with my brother Jet all the way around the world. But yeah, I mean, the scheduling had to work. I already had a job. I mean, I couldn't just, I'm gonna go roll the dice and see what happens and tell the rest of my career that I'm taking off. But that first time that we raced, I was still a bow-legged cowboy about 3 countries in because I was sore from the 7 bulls I'd already got on.
What, you 3 times? You and Jet were on it 3 times?
3 times. Yep, 3 times. We did the Amazing Race 16, and then we did one called Unfinished Business, Amazing Race 18, and then we got called back and did an all-star one.
And never won the $1 million.
The U-turns got us on the last one, I guess. They had these deals. If other teams didn't like you or didn't want to race, they could, if they got there first, they could send you on U-turn. So you had to go back and do the other missions. So U-turn. So I think we got eliminated in Spain one time, and the other time we got eliminated in Switzerland. So if you're going to get eliminated somewhere and be stuck somewhere for a couple of days, some pretty nice places to be stuck in. It's like getting stuck in Maui. Like, oh no.
Oh. So what do you do? Hang out until you get a flight home? They line it all up?
Yeah, they still have you kind of locked in a room, but like, here's a menu. Eat all the steaks and watch the TV that you want to. So yeah, you just stuck there until you go. They did have us. I don't know if people thought that we were going to win or what that one time, but they had us fly into Florida and like we would have our backpacks on and then we would act like we're winning. So we would race through the airport. We're already eliminated. We race through the airport because they have all these people that are, trying to give the race away, before it happens. And so they video us up on the internet, acting like, the Cowboys are winning and we're racing through there. We're already eliminated, but we're just doing the decoys, I guess.
Okay. So what is the penalty? I always used to laugh that you absolutely cannot tell if you win or lose, but that one guy that catches you, do you win? That's the guy you're going to tell. So who knew?
It was like, it's like $10 million or something. But the first time, if you watch the Amazing Race 16, why me and Jet wouldn't tell nobody. You sure wasn't going to tell you who beat you and who won the $1 million. Like you didn't want them to know ever. But the second, third time is like the first phone call is as soon as you get your phone back, you're like, hey Sarah, don't spend any money. We didn't win. You're like, whoa, we didn't win. Yeah. But there's huge penalty. The funny thing about it is, so when you sign up for the Amazing Race, you have to turn in all the contracts that you've already signed. And even CBS is like, did you look at these contracts that you're under already? It's a whole nother deal. But they're going to get you for $10 million. I was like, best of luck finding the $10 million for me snitching.
So that's the penalty for telling. If they find out you told it, it's $10 million.
Yeah, it maybe affect the show that much or something. So I was like, yeah. But you don't get in a hurry to tell people that you lost, other than your wife, because don't spend $500,000 because we ain't got it.
But again, it goes back to what we talked about, who you are with marketing and PR, using, being a good person and being popular. Right. You guys, I had friends going, man, the Cowboys, that everybody, we get together and watch the Amazing Race because we're watching the Cowboys. I said, oh, Cord and Jet, those guys? Well, hell yeah, I know those guys. Again, you kept getting.
not have got engaged if it wasn't for you. Because when we set up this show that you do outside the burrow, that I'm going to get engaged on that show, I was so nervous. I think I would have backed out and come push me into it. So,
holy crap! I forgot about that.
Yeah, you forgot about that. I had a ring in my boots, and you finally was like, Cord, do you have something that you need to ask Sarah? And I was like, I didn't think he was going to ask, but yeah.
I mean, I didn't. Now that when you bring it up, I went, "Oh yeah, shoot! I'm ingrained in your family."
Yeah, you are. Yeah, you pushed me over the edge.
I'm practically family. When you got out of bull riding, and the sad reality is there are a lot of people that have great rodeo careers or bull riding careers and retire with nothing and are lost. Like you said, you got to find something to fill that gap right there that has brought you that rush or joy or whatever it is. They say, I talk about you transitioned so well into the bull business, but really it was kind of assimilation. You didn't start from scratch because your dad was around quite a while, correct?
Right.
There was a business there. You've just now taken it. Am I on the right track?
Even to the extent of like in high school, like my FFA program was raising bucking bulls. So I won Southeast District Star Agribusinessman with my bucking bull business. Like it wasn't like, Cord retired and then he just up and decided that he was going to do this. Like this started, early 90s. It finally did start developing up to where the bucking bulls got more popular. There's a lot more value. You can a lot more trade in it. It's hard to say that you just had an easy transition. I mean, because I get done riding and I'm decided, well, I raise these horses. I have a set of brood mares, I'm going to be a horse trainer. I'm going to do whatever else it was. And there was one night I had the nightlight on. I built a barn there at our place, and I had, stalls full of colts I'm riding. And I'm telling you, I don't know, I had a whole set of Hancock colts, and every night they'd buck. Every one of them would buck. And I called the local rodeo company. I said, y'all got an extra horse I can get on? Like, I'm coming to your rodeo. I got no fans. I got no pickup man. I got no sports medicine. I got no EMS. Nobody clapping when it's over. I'm like, I'm going back to the rodeo. And I actually started riding broncs again. After that, I mean, I got my little bull riding helmet and put it on and went to the first, little local rodeo. And maybe you're just trying to find that fix again. I mean, because you're so used to it your whole life that, and I don't know if it's people clapping or the sensation of, accomplishing what you nod your head to do.
I think it's both. I think,
yeah.
I worry about it. I'm doing this stuff, but there's that rush of bringing joy. I think it's in whatever form of entertainment, you're bringing joy to the people. And I would think that's part of what you were doing. You had that sense of bringing something to people because you're still bringing something to people. But so did you make a conscious decision to go, we've had some good bulls. We've been raising bulls a long time, but man, we can get there? Or did it just like your great bull? You talk about riding solo. That was part of your breeding program, correct?
No, we scouted that bull. We found riding early. And the funny thing is, like, I'd seen riding solo sire, and I was just so amazed by him. I thought Bar 31 was so awesome. Well, he got hurt early, and the rest of the world never got to know him. And then we seen riding solo, and he's this little, looked like a Jersey calf with long legs, but he could jump like a deer and spin on the top and give you some change kind of deal. He was amazing. And I had an opportunity to buy him, and we had a couple of partners, but I couldn't get anybody talked into buying him. I'm like, look at him. Like, this is a specimen. Like, we finally called my father-in-law and really just to get a loan. Like, we're going to buy riding solo. And he said, well, I'll just partner with you anyways. So he just partnered us on riding solo, and about 300,000 later, then he sold his sat for about 130,000 too. So he hit a home run. But we continued to ride it out. But what got me into the big bulls wasn't that I wanted to, is every year I would sell my bulls to D&H, to K-Bar C, to Chad Berger. Well, a couple years after I got done with the PBR rider, those guys were deciding my price. And I had bulls at the PBR World Finals. They were offering me like 3,500 for it. And I was like, 3,500? I said, I can haul them myself. Like, why in the world am I going to sell you that? So I feel like those top dogs or top 5 contractors kind of forced me into it. Like,
wait, hold on. I will go back to that. So even though your bulls were making the PBR World Finals, they were still holding your price because they had their thumb on you. They just had that control over you, or how? I mean, could you step up? What was the?
Yeah. So you would breed these bulls and train them and work their way all the way up, and then so the classic or the ABBI, the competition, they would buck as 4-year-olds, and that's when I was letting them all go. I'd sell all those bulls, and every year, man, I'd have a big Christmas bonus kind of deal. I'd sell those bulls in November, to either rodeo guys or PBR guys or whoever that may be. And that last year, I had 3 bulls at the World Finals, and just the buyers would not. You could go from one to the other, and they know that you needed to sell them. They know that you're not a stock contractor, you're not doing it full time, and boy, I proved them wrong.
Oh, gotcha. So they just knew you're in the business of selling bulls, so we can control your price. So you said, "Hell with it, I'm going to do that."
Yeah.
The big time bull business is part, I see all of them, Chad Berger and you, it's part breeding program and part acquisition.
Yes. I think I manage it. It's just like you manage the Yankees. I'm sure that you have a farming program of getting those best bulls up there. But if the Red Sox have got a home run hitter, like if there's any way you can get him on your team, that's the way to do. I mean, I had the top 3 bulls last weekend at Tacoma. So Blue Duck, we had just got him. He come out of North Carolina, 4-year-old. He's a great bull. Jerome and Tiffany Davis, who raised him. But I got a partner there that he knows me. We have a relationship. He's been partners for 5 years, and he wants to own a contender. Like he wants to run at that, Bucking Bull of the Year. And I made the phone call of, hey, I found him. I've seen him. I've been studying this bull. Here's where he's going to fit in the whole scheme of things. We need to get him. He costs a lot, but if this is what you want to do, this is what he's going to cost. The number 2 bull, a bull called Cliffhanger. He'd been around for a little while. He's like 7 years old, but he hadn't been bucked that many times, meaning he doesn't buck him Chad Berger hard or Jeff Robinson hard. Like he was still limited. There's a lot of life left in him. He was bucking bull of the National Finals Rodeo, in that same idea. The Pioneer Bulls, it's a group of people. They want to own a contender for Bull of the Year. There he is. So we're kind of just placing the partners in the right spot. But if you really just want to make a lot of money with those calves, it's buying when they're yearlings and 2 or 3 years old, because it's like riding solo. His lifetime earnings are over 300,000. What he wins from now on is just kind of extra credit.
I like the baseball. I'm stealing that too, the baseball analogy, but it's right. You got to have your base, but you got to have that guy over there that hits it really far. Maybe I didn't pay attention as much as I should to a bull like Riding Solo, or not necessarily to him, but bulls like him. I've never seen a bull that I really, he was getting into the chutes. You were getting re-rides on him. I was afraid he was going to hurt himself. I've never remember a bull that figured it out, like grew up and figured it out. That he's unreal.
Yeah, he's a freak. I mean, I don't know how to explain that much. To be so calm and laid back at the ranch, and then to be so extreme. People are like, "Oh, why does Riding Solo wear that halter?" And I'm like, because he literally will jump out of the chute. Like, I know you still don't believe me, but he can make it out of the chute. Like I tie him in the chute like a horse because he can make it out. I mean, other bulls have different reasons for having a halter on him. But, if somebody told me I had to bet that he could or couldn't make it out of the chute, I think he could jump out. So we just seriously hold him still with the halter. And then when they nod, you'll hear a pop as the latch, and we let him go. And it's like letting fireworks go, and just hope they go in the right direction.
There's been a few bulls in my career that a lot of great bulls that they do their thing. They do their thing. A bull like Riding Solo, I thought Bushwhacker was like that. He means it. Like when he leaves, he's not going, okay, I'm going to go out here and turn back left. And, there's been bulls that, I mean, they mean it, but a bruiser and even Whoopah's so great.
Yep.
But riding solo, he knows his job. He knows his goal is to get rid of that guy. Am I on the right track there?
So, and if you watched Jose get on him at Oklahoma City, and I don't think Solo has a clock, meaning at 8 seconds, he's still throwing new pitches at him. Like, whatever I got to do to get you on the ground. It's not like, oh, you rode me past that trick. We'll just finish your 8 seconds. Like, he's like, I'm trying something new. And I think that's what's put him to the next level, even in the last 12 months, because, growing up when Solo won all that money, all he had to do was go left right there. Well, one or two of the guys that are at the top of the game, they just got over there and rode him to the left. And Solo's like, no. Even we watched Kyler Oliver got on the other day and rode him in Glendale pretty easy. Well, next week, and Solo says, no, I've seen that trick, 7 days ago. I got a change up for you. I think he's thinking through it. And also as a bull trainer or manager, you try to set him up for that. When he faces those best guys, he goes to the next level. The other day I bucked him at a PRCA rodeo, and I was almost worried that, if he thinks it's easier, he's not performing, to that next level. Every time that he faces a better guy, the next time I buck him, I'm like, oh, you better watch out. I feel sorry for the next guy.
So now the big question is, apparently, and I'm sure it took some time, bringing those great bulls. I watch you on the back of the chutes, and I'll give you apparently now in your life, where you are in your life, you said, when you walk away from a thing like bull riding, you got to find that thing that brings you that rush and that joy. It's bringing you that now, isn't it?
It is. Before the bull riding starts, people come up and the riders are asking about the bulls, and I literally tell them all that I know. And I'm like, you know what? This is the coolest sport. We have the one sport in life that both of us can win. When Mason Taylor got on him last week, I'm like, be 95 points. Like, we can both win. So you have that mindset, but kind of like you said about the look up when it's over. When Solo has an amazing trip, you do everything you can to not clap for him and be like, great job. I mean, to humbly turn around and to tell yourself, good job inside, and don't celebrate. It's not cool to celebrate,
Yeah. I remember
the guy getting bucked off. You're literally celebrating for the bull did good. He did his job. And I think you can do that. Well, if anybody's proved it, Jose and Whoopah, they broke records together. That's, the only other sport you can do that in.
I remember you might've been there. Remember in Fresno, Ben Jones used to celebrate when he rode a bull and he got bucked off. And, I remember the guy jumped over the fence and danced in Ben Jones's face. I don't think he's ever been back.
No. Yeah. And it's not I don't take offense to it that much. It's just a respect thing, it's
well, listen, I would imagine that I'm going to see you somewhere soon. I would bet. What's that?
My favorite town's coming up. So we were at a little after party in Tulsa one time, and I met this little blonde-headed girl, and we changed numbers. And so now me and my wife and my daughter Tulsa are going to Tulsa this weekend. So yeah, I'll be there.
Thank you for that story. And then you proposed to her on my show. So
there you go.
Now I'm there for every anniversary.
Yeah.
Listen, I always say this, there's a few people when I'm on the road that I look forward to seeing. There's guys I work with, get people I see, and every time I give you a yip, yip, or a whoop, whoop. We don't, I tell everybody, I told Logan who helps me, I said, Cord and I don't really say hello or speak. We just go, whoop, whoop, yip, look up here.
Yep.
Look, you too.
It's like a hat tip, and just respect it.
Well, listen, you will always remain the most famous mediocre bull rider in the PBR in PBR history.
I tell you that Albuquerque store one time was we signing autographs over there, and this gal come up to me and is like, "Hey," I said, "I remember you. What's your name? What's your name?" I said, Cord McCoy. Oh, you're that guy that don't ride very good, that smiles all the time. Like that stuck with me. Like, You're the guy that don't ride very good. The smiles all the time. I guess, you take it however you can get it.
You should have put that on a t-shirt.
Yeah. For these days. So I'm going to hold off.
Well, listen, man, you're the best. I appreciate the time and conversation. And
well, it was an honor to finally be on your show, even if it's after 84 weeks.
86 weeks. Took me 43 episodes to have Cord McCoy. Thanks, buddy.
Yeah, you had my cell. You didn't have to wait that long.
Thanks, buddy.